Hi guys, Sweet Phil here, and you're watching ZachArcher.
Alright, hey Pentaholics, how's it going? I've missed you, honestly. It's been literally since December 2019 is the last Pentatonix thing that I covered on this channel. That was You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch, the music video for that in December of 2019. Are you kidding me? That's insane. I guess like that feels like a distant memory of that era of Pentatonix, honestly. But a lot has happened. Ironically, right around when the pandemic started is when I took my long hiatus from doing videos on this channel, which coincided with Pentatonix and reactions in general. You know, during my break, I talked about this in another video, but I'll talk about it here in case there's Pentatonix fans tuning in now. I basically decided that I would retire from reactions, that reactions wouldn't be the thing I'm focusing on anymore. And as such, I freed myself up to just kind of watch, for the first time in a long time, just be able to watch things without having to wait to do reactions. For a lot of artists that I covered, and particularly Pentatonix, I would make sure to react to everything they put out, every song, every music video. And I was trying to do the PT experience, though I was like falling behind on those as well at the time. But yeah, I would react to everything. So I would always have to hold off. If I wasn't able to record a video immediately, I would like save myself for like weeks from even listening to an album or something. So it was liberating in a sense to just be able to watch Pentatonix freely like that. But at the same time, it feels weird to have so much Pentatonix content not having reactions to any of them and not having talked about them at all when they came out. It feels like it's been ages since I've been able to talk about it or talk about Pentatonix in general, you know, because this was my outlet to do that. And I know a lot of you came from Pentatonix and my reactions to them. So I wanted to kind of briefly touch on my thoughts of everything they did during my long time not talking about Pentatonix. And now, since I am a huge Pentatonix fan, I am back to doing videos regularly on this channel. I'm not completely retired from reactions, as you might be able to tell if you seen any of my videos recently. I have a few reactions mixed in there. Basically, I'm just not at the point where I'm going to be reacting to every video. I'm not going to like stockpile videos and prevent myself from watching them just to do reactions. You know, every now and then I might do them. But with Pentatonix and with a lot of the artists I follow, I do still want to talk about their new stuff they're putting out. So if there's new stuff that comes out from Pentatonix, you can probably expect me to talk about it, at least in some way, shape, or form. So one of the first things they put out in the onset of the pandemic is their at-home EP, which I remember this coming out of left field, really, because it felt like it was starved for Pentatonix content at the time. And, you know, with the at-home EP came these music videos, which were like, you know, pandemic style, almost like 90% of things that came out of the pandemic era, where it's socially distanced videos, you know, which it works for Pentatonix, honestly. A lot of like, even if you go back to early videos like Winter Wonderland, Don't Worry Be Happy, like they were doing that style of video long before they were forced to for this album, where even just looking at the thumbnails you can see here, it's just like they're all in their own boxes for every video. For Home, Blinding Lights, When the Party's Over, Break My Heart, and Dreams, they're all very similar looking, which they try to mix it up more than that at least. But I've always said that the bread and butter of Pentatonix is just being able to see them sing. And that's just the beauty of it, which is why I didn't like certain videos where you didn't get to see them. Those were far and few between, but yeah. I would say the at-home EP, if you look at this and then the two other albums they put out since then, it's obviously the weakest of the three, but considering it was during a pandemic and everything, I think it was still great. I think the bar is so high for the two other albums, you know. I haven't listened to this one as much as the other two either, like, and repetition is a big thing for me. Like, I grow to love things a lot when I listen to them more and more. But the thing is, I've just started collecting physical stuff for music now. So like CDs, as old-fashioned as it sounds, CDs are a lot of what I listen to because I'll put them in my car, in my CD player. So this one I didn't have a CD for, so I didn't listen to as much. So that being said, At Home, the EP, great song choices. I mean, this was right up my alley in terms of the kind of music that I like from pop. And, I was familiar with every song that they did. And I thought it was really, really cool. I really like a lot of the songs they did too. This was right when I was getting into Dua Lipa for the first time. And they did a Break My Heart Dua Lipa cover. I'm like, hell yeah. And, I was getting into Billie Eilish around this time as well. And they did When the Party's Over. And hell yeah. I really love Blinding Lights as a song. And Dreams I really like as well. I mean, honestly, they're just great song choices. Just maybe not the most stellar arrangements they've ever done. It's not super outside of the box. But I really appreciate them giving this during a time where it was difficult to come out with music content like this. Now, before the next album came to be, they did come up with a music video outside of that album, which was for Mad World, which, oh man, I loved this music video. This would have been a great reaction for me, which is why it kind of sucks to, while it is liberating to be free of reactions, it's almost like you have a gem like this one where I'm like, it's disappointing because I'm like, oh, could have been a good one. Could have been a good reaction right there. But I appreciated it in silence in my little cave all by myself. I appreciated it and really loved it. And I mean, this is more of like the kind of Pentatonix video that I like, where it's not straight up the little pandemic boxes, but it is still very simple. Just some cool lighting, but you just see them right there. That's just like all you need. I just need to see them. That's just what I need from Pentatonix. Now at this time, they also were starting to put out music videos leading up to their next album and such. Oh, and they did put out Happy Now, the music video for Happy Now, right before this one, because I was gonna just talk about in the context of the album, but I didn't. Now I just now realized, oh yeah, that is from the next album after the one I'm about to talk about. So Happy Now, what a fun music video and an awesome song. It's another thing I miss with Pentatonix. I was able to talk about every song, and I don't get the chance to do that now. I could, but I don't think it would really be necessary. I would, if you're interested, I would love to do reviews for the albums at some point, so I can talk about it in a little more depth than this. This is just really, really surface level thoughts. But Happy Now, I love it. I loved it when I first heard it in concert before it even was a tinkle and trinkle in anybody's mind. I was like, man, this is great. When they brought out the grassy background and everything, I'm like, okay, I'm sold on this song already. A great new original. It was very promising for an original album down the line. But yeah, they had that, and then they had the Mad World video, which was a nice treat. And then they had a couple videos leading up to their Christmas album. They did Be My Eyes, Amazing Grace, Thank You, 12 Days of Christmas. All great heavy hitters leading up to the We Need a Little Christmas album. Guys, let me tell you, I loved this album, and it really sucks I didn't get to talk about it, because it almost like it was like a Christmas tradition for me to get to talk about like the new Pentatonix album, the new Pentatonix Christmas special, and that was all just kind of missing for me this year. It was literally like the first year in a long time that I didn't talk about Pentatonix around Christmas, so that was a shame. But I mean, what a stellar album. There were a couple where I'm like, okay, did it really need to be done? We're kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel at this point. With 12 Days of Christmas, I mean, I thought they did some cool stuff with that, but at the same time, it's not the kind of song that I'm going to listen to a lot. Just 12 Days of Christmas is not a bop, you know what I'm saying? But in all fairness, when I was going into this album, and every time when I heard they were going to be doing a new Christmas album, my thought was always like, man, they're really going to be desperate to just pick up every last Christmas song they haven't covered yet, because I feel like they've covered most of the essentials at this point. So what is there left to cover there? I was hoping they might take a break from Christmas albums and do something else. I've always been a big proponent of doing a Halloween album. I think that would be brilliant, because artists don't do that, and it would really suit Pentatonix's style well, I think. But I am very grateful that they gave us this now. So I'll eat my my hat on that one. That being said, we did have Seasons of Love, the song from Rent, in this Christmas album. So they are running out of options for sure. Though I love that cover. I love it. It's not a Christmas song, right? It's not really. I mean, they've always made these loose connections, hallelujahs of the world. But there's some great stuff in this album. I really love Thank You. Oh, I remember when I first heard that song, it felt more like a Superfruit release, or it's like a stripped down Superfruit release, because it was not so much the full Pentatonix arrangement you'd usually expect. Like, not every member super involved as much as you might expect from their Christmas covers, but it was just really special. So I remember putting out a tweet just for this song alone. That was just how much I loved it. It was a real standout for me from the get-go. There's a lot to love in this album. Really great stuff. And then the next thing we had to wait a few months, but we did get the Pentatonix original album that people were so hyped for. God, I wish I was here for this. It was a weird year in general, obviously, for coronavirus and whatnot, but even weirder for me, because Pentatonix was just such a part of. I was always there for the hype of any new release, and I really wasn't there for all this awesome stuff they were putting out. But this is an amazing album, and I think it's such a distinct style, and it's like really sets itself apart from anything they've done, and it's somehow manages to be a really cohesive product, despite there being a great variety of awesome songs. It really is. It is a cohesive product. That I can tell it fits so tonally together. It works well. One song leads right into the next. And I forget, one of the Pentaholics that I follow made a tweet. I forget who said it exactly. Obviously, it's been forever. No, it hasn't been forever. It's been a few months. But they said they finally did it. They've made an album, or like a skip-free album or something, like no skips. You never skip a song. I'm like, yeah, I can kind of feel that. Honestly, it just feels like a natural progression of an album. Like, you want to just hear them lead into each other, each song, and as such, I don't really find myself skipping on this album at all. There's a lot of killer, no filler. That's for sure. And I did really like the style that they had for their photo shoots and everything associated with this. Great stuff. Honestly, of course, the whole year, of course, that I took off, but they put out two of the best albums they've ever done. These might be number 1 and 2. Honestly, I don't think the only competition is really their first original album, Pentatonix. So these, I mean, wow, they're really killing it, which is not exactly something I would have expected. After Avi left, I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, we're going to come out with their 2 best albums, as in a year or two. But there we go. It is. For me, at least, that's how it feels. The only other thing they've put out since then is the 90s dance medley music video, which was a nice surprise. I remember seeing people speculate that when they started teasing it, is this like an Evolution of Pentatonix video? And I was like, oh, I was here for that idea. But 90s dance medley, honestly, I wasn't a huge fan of it. I thought it was just okay. Out of like all the stellar stuff they've done this year, it's probably the low light for me. Just the song choices. I mean, the 90s dance style, I don't think is the best for the Pentatonix treatment. Just my opinion. But honestly, it's still good. It's just not up to the level of these other things they did. These 2 albums, stellar. Yeah, Home EP was still pretty great. And the nice music videos and things like Mad World they threw in there, great. And Be My Eyes, like, oof, Kirsten stunning in that music video too. It's like there's so much to love what they put out the past year and a half since I haven't talked about them. I would like to be able to talk about the albums for sure in more depth, and maybe some of the music videos as well, to analyze the music videos themselves. That's something I would definitely consider. that's all I got for now. As I started coming back to doing this YouTube channel again, the first order of business for me was honestly to touch on all the different artists that I'm a huge fan of and that I've not been able to talk about in a lot of time, like catching up on all the stuff that I've missed, or even new artists like Dua Lipa, who I've been getting into since my break. So it's been a lot to juggle in that regard, but at the same time I'm trying to make it as low pressure as possible on myself, since I do have weekly obligations for videos to put out for Tarkaron, my other channel. So I wanted this to be a little more stress-free. I'm not going to do every single music video they come out with. I'm not going to expect myself to sit down and react to immediately. I just want to be able to talk about Pentatonix again. I want to be able to talk about a lot of these artists and things that I love again. So I'm excited to be back to it, and I hope you are too. And yeah, let me know what you'd like to see next. If you'd like to see me talk about one of the albums in more depth or something else entirely, hell yeah. And hey, if you want to see more from me, feel free to go to ZachArcher.net and leave a comment with your thoughts. Thanks.